If your blood runs orange and blue, this is the pod for you. You're listening to Orange and Blue Bloods, hosted by EJ Stewart and Tommy Beer. Let's get to it, New York.
So let's quickly talk about Randle. He was unable to finish Game 5 with coming down on Karis LeVert's foot, re-aggravating an ankle injury that sidelined him for the final 2+ weeks of the regular season. Randle had trouble getting off the floor before eventually limping to the locker room under his own power. He would come out at halftime or after halftime to watch the second half of the game, but he watched it essentially from the stands. He wasn't even on the bench. Obi Toppin at the second half played great, provided the Knicks a spark. After the game, Thibodeau said that it was premature to kind of prognosticate what Randle's situation will be moving forward, but that he'll be reevaluated sometime Thursday, which is the day we're recording this podcast. So, one, how can the Knicks, in your eyes, Tommy, adjust to Randle possibly being out? And how many games can they afford him to not play if they want to advance past the Heat?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, the fact that he came back on the court, good sign. They kind of showed him, doing some calf raises, during timeouts and stuff like that. So just the fact that he felt comfortable enough, they didn't need to immediately, air cast it or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
When he first went down,
exactly.
When he first went down, it looked scary. It looked like he was scared. He looked to the bench immediately. It just looked very familiar to the injury that cost him 5 games. I'm sure he was initially very concerned. It looked like he was a little more comfortable. He was able to walk off the floor under his own power, obviously limping. The other thing is Ian Begley of SNY did report that Randle was walking cautiously. But according to league sources, the early impression is the sprain is not as severe as Randle's prior ankle ailment. So that kind of, confirms the eye test. Who knows? We'll see how. Obviously, it depends on it. He's going to be getting, therapy 23 or 24 hours a day, for the next 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever the case might be. We'll see how his ankle responds. Again, this is the same ankle. They got to be careful with it. They may err on the side of caution. One thing to keep in mind: the schedule is set. Sunday, game 1. Do they have the time yet? I saw 1 o'clock.
I didn't see the time when it first happened, but I'm assuming it'll be 1. That's usually when they start those game ones.
I assume it'll be
7 later in the afternoon or evening.
Agreed. I assume that it'll either be 1 or 3:30. But they'll probably have the West Coast game at 3:30. So I assume it'll be 1 o'clock on Sunday at the Garden. And folks, the Garden will be very loud.
Oh my God.
So then you have the game Tuesday, but then you don't play again. I believe the
1 o'clock, by the way, the official time.
Okay, good. And then the next game is Saturday. Is that correct? It goes from Tuesday to Saturday, or is it Tuesday to Friday?
What for
game 3?
3? Let me see. I have it right here. So the Knicks, they'll play Sunday, Tuesday, and then Saturday. Exactly.
Saturday. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind as well. If you hold them out till Saturday, that's a good 10 days of full 9 days of full rest and recuperation. It sounds like he could probably play in game 1. Do they let him suit up in game 1? I guess we'll get a feel after practice on Friday and Saturday, etc. But those are some kind of the options. If it was more severe, given what you can get from Obi, keeping him out that full week might make some sense based on the gap between games 2 and 3. So something to keep in mind. We'll see how it plays out. As far as the X's and O's, should he not be able to play, obviously Obi, take center stage. There's a little bit of a different offensive field. We talked about in the first segment. Push that pace a little more. Get Obi some easy buckets in transition. Get Obi some 3-pointers. Also have him create a little bit more. Going to the basket. We've seen a couple times this series now. We put the ball on the floor, get to the rim. Would like to see that a little more. And then you're just going to have to rely a little bit more heavily on your other guys, the Brunsons, the Barretts, Harts, IQs, etc. We'll see how that plays itself out. The other thing I just kind of thought of randomly, Sims has not been available. Maybe does he get some minutes if Randle's he could give you a good 6 minutes against Bam at some point just to kind of wear him down a little bit. We'll see how that plays out, but something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that Sims part is a good point, because I didn't even know he was not available to this series, and then it was he's got a shoulder injury, he's not even suited up. So So yeah, that will be interesting to see if he ends up getting some time here. So it's so weird because I think we came into this postseason with Randle being a question mark and feeling like, man, Knicks, they will have a really tough time if Randle can't play in the series against Cleveland. He did play in this series. He didn't play particularly well for the majority of the series, and the Knicks still won in 5 games. The Heat are a different animal than the Cavs, especially when it comes to dealing with physicality. They will be way more equipped than the
Yes.
Cavs were. So there's a part of me that says, okay, Randle can't play. This feels like it would still be tough, but like I said in the last segment, like the Knicks play so different when Obi Toppin's out there, and at a certain point, I got to start believing what my eyes are telling me that Obi Toppin can go out there and give you similar production to what Julius Randle can give you if he plays the kind of minutes. Maybe he won't rebound as well, and he has some defensive lapses in that third quarter that were annoying. But and like Randle doesn't have defensive lapses, but there's some lapses that happen like because he's just not focused. Where Randle sometimes I think if he kicks his spots when he's going to defend. So it's not like it's just like you're getting a same all NBA caliber player. But I just don't know if I can say, oh, the Knicks are going to be in this like disastrous situation if Randle has to miss some games. I got to be honest. I will say I think the fact that the Heat won't have Hero is an important factor in this as well when it comes to exactly how many points do you need to score to beat the Miami Heat. The Heat offense looked really good against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks have a great defense. I don't know what happened to the Bucks, and we'll talk about them in a second. But I would think that this is going to be, I agree, kind of a low scoring kind of series. So I think the Knicks may be able to survive missing Randle for a couple of games if they have to. They might be in a weird position where they might need to try to see, hey, we can split these first 2 games in Miami if Randle can't play these first 2 games. And then say, okay, you don't want to have a split, but then Randle comes back for game 3 and game 4. He's okay, now we got to get the split in Miami, Randle playing. I think they feel good about their chances in that regard. They are the higher seed.
I will say this in regards to Obi specifically before we move on to the other matchups and whatnot. The Heat starting Kevin Love at power forward. First of all, you think that Cavs could have used Kevin Love in this
They could have. He had like 11 12 rebounds last night. Yeah,
15 to 12.
Definitely. Yeah.
I will say, but Kevin Love is the type of player Obi can guard, perimeter based. Kevin Love is not, pounding you, taking it back to the basket and driving past you. He's hitting spot up threes off space, off Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry kickouts, etc. So it's not like it's Pascal Siakam who could score 40 on Obi's head and really, take advantage of Obi's defensive deficiencies. Love's a guy that's going to look to draw fouls draw charges on one end of the floor and then shoot threes from the corner and the wings on the other end of the floor. So Obi can stay attached to perimeter players. So that works to the Knicks' advantage as well. Not having obviously Love's not a focal point of the Heat offense, especially in the way that he does score. He contributes offensively, but it's more from the perimeter.
Yeah, no, exactly. And boy, you talk about Kevin Love and his impact in that Heat series and how he played against the Bucks and the Cavs not being able to rebound. You do kind of wonder, man, maybe the Cavs could have used him. But you're right. I think that's a good matchup for the Knicks with Kevin Love playing so many minutes. Not as athletic as well. So knowing, unless maybe they put Bam on Obi. Now this is where it gets fun. Now you're talking about how teams miss and match. But in theory, if they do say, Bam's going to deal with Mitchell Robinson on the glass, and then you have Love on Obi Toppin, that may end up being actually maybe even bigger mismatch than even Randle because Love's not going to run up and down the floor with Obi.
Yeah, you want to put Obi in pick and roll action and in screen action. Try to get Kevin Love moving. They actually did run some 5-4 Mitchell Robinson Obi pick and rolls top of the key against the Cavs. I'd love to see that. Should Randle not be available, or even if he is, if those two share the floor together, or Hartenstein, because if Love is trying to guard Obi, you want to use your agility, athleticism to your advantage because that's where Love has a major disadvantage.
Yeah, overall, the Knicks, it would be great if they can get Randle back healthy. I would feel like they would need him. But today, I can't say that they can't advance without him. I cannot say that after what I've seen because all the narrative after what I saw last season. Remember, I'm not going back to last season, where Obi finished the season. It was, end of the season, teams are tanking. You can't take that. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Basketball is basketball. But okay, fine. Then the end of this season, same thing happens. Now Knicks are trying to clinch a playoff spot, finish the season strong. And it was the same thing. Well, it's still end of the season, even though Knicks games mattered. Still end of the season. Other teams are tanking. So I'm like, okay, fine. Now I've seen the playoffs. Obi Toppin, the minutes he plays when Randle was playing and struggling, he helped carry the Knicks past the series. Then in this game where Randle gets hurt and then he dominates the third quarter. First of all, I think Thibodeau should have put him back in. I thought that was a minor mistake in that fourth quarter, especially when the Knicks were struggling offensively. But he plays the way he did in that third quarter in a playoff game against a team that's facing elimination. And there's no excuses anymore. I expect Obi Toppin to play well if he has to start for Randle. I don't think that there's this huge drop off.
The other thing to it's really important to note is Randle played really well in that first half. It was great to see aggressive driving through people's dress. Had 5 assists like in the first 9 minutes. Really played smart, played well. Even though his shot wasn't dropping, contributed significantly. That being said, the first 4 games he was bad. He was averaging 14.8 points, slashing 32, 26, 64, and had 4 more turnovers than assists. And I did look up the numbers actually coming into game 5 on Tuesday. I wrote about it. According to Basketball Reference, over 40 years, 898 players have attempted at least 100 field goals in their postseason career. Of those 898 players, Randle has the lowest cumulative field goal percentage. The only other guy shooting below 31% for their postseason careers, 9 games for Randle, are Lindsey Hunter and Chris Duhon. So Randle was not an efficient offensive player and was not, wasn't like he was a key to the Knicks getting to a 3-1 lead. So Obi likely wouldn't play worse, would be more efficient offensively. You assume Randle's going to bounce back. You saw him bounce back in the first half of game 5. And again, they have a better chance to beat the Heat if a fully healthy Julius Randle. But I agree with you. The Knicks can still win the series if Randle doesn't play or misses the first 2 games, etc.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest podcast ventures. Links will be in the descriptions. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.